For the better part of my career, more than 20 years, I've been a corporate girl in supply chain management and logistics or classical marketing. But come 2020, COVID and the Great Reset, I got an opportunity to work in a non-profit organization which was helping young unemployed people to be able to break out of that trap of unemployment by connecting them with their first employment opportunity, allowing them to build experience, build that reference letter, and then move on to bigger opportunities. My name is Novantu Nkulwana, and in this season of my life, my ambition is to help the emerging social entrepreneur to be able to flatten that learning curve, scale up their projects, and deliver more impact quicker than ever before. Join us on the NPO Bootcamp as we show you how to level up your social enterprise. So, and that is in this next little section, what I'd like us to do is go in depth in terms of the programs that you cover. So let me just recap to make sure that we've got all of them. We deal with behavior change. We deal with alternative programs. We've got leadership. We've got customer service. We've got umhabulo democracy, career guidance. We've got an outreach initiative. Then we've got the one that's now become the business, the healthy lifestyle and success through academic excellence. Which is the one that touches the greatest number of people?
Currently, under the behavior change, because under the behavior change management, there's a number of them, right? So under the behavior change, we've got Ke Moja, which is a substance abuse prevention program. That is the one that is touching the huge number. That's the 1.4 million that we reach annually.
Wonderful.
Right?
Okay, maybe let's start there then in terms of how that program works.
Okay, so the first thing really is when we were called to do the program, because we were called to help NPOs who were doing substance abuse. So the first thing we did was to do a baseline assessment, right? To say, because Ke Moja is a government program, there's something that is called National Drug Master Plan that is developed by the Central Drug Authority in South Africa. So that is like a National Drug Master Plan for the country. How is the country going to deal with? And then
this is owned by the Department of Social Development.
Yes.
Got it.
Nationally.
Got it.
So the CDA is national, and then it's implemented by provinces, and it goes down to districts and regions. So the prevention element of the National Drug Master Plan is called Ke Moja, right? The idea there, it was started by Minister Zola Square, 2003, the late. So the idea was we want to have a program that is hip and happening, which is a brand that's going to grab young people, So it's called Ke Moja, I'm fine without drugs. That's the idea. So all provinces are supposed to implement it. So what happened then is when it started in 2004, the predecessor of the parent of AYDF, which was Miles and Associates, founded by Michael Finley, was appointed by the department in 2004 to start creating this program. So they had the idea, we want to have a substance abuse prevention program. We want it to be appealing to young people. And Michael Finley was doing programs on basketball. So it just came with something that is hip and fun. That everybody looked at. Okay, good.
So this is content that is developed by the predecessors. It was commissioned by the department to say, we need this kind of intervention. You guys, you are subject matter experts. Please come on board and
help us.
So you own that content. Well, the predecessor.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And well, I mean, it evolved, right? And was added and it's grown. We were almost adding something yearly, because that's another thing that's important.
The content keeps building and
it keeps building up.
Wonderful.
So in 2011, the national government commissioned a study to see how the program is doing, and Gauteng was lacking. So the Gauteng department called us in 2012 to say, guys, we had adverse findings against us in the study, so far, come and help us. And then,
are you at liberty to say what those findings were? What was not working in the program at the time?
Oh, yes. I mean, when we did the baseline, we found out what it was. The first thing was They just had the brand, Ke Moja,
Right.
right? They didn't have a program.
Oh.
So you'd go to Hammanskraal, they're saying we're doing Ke Moja, they're doing something different. You go to Ratanda, they're saying we're doing Ke Moja, we're doing something different. You go to Eastern Cape, they call it Ke Moja, but it's something different. So they just got
consistency.
There was no product, right? So that was our finding when we did the baseline assessment, right? Because it's a government policy, it has outcomes, it has objectives, it has goals. It tells you this is what we're trying to achieve. So the policy had the what, and that's what people took, and the brand name Ke Moja, but there was no how we're gonna do this. Nice. So bringing us in, that's what we did.
Okay.
Right? We then said, okay, the first thing that we need to do is to standardize. So when you say somebody has done a Ke Moja program, you know exactly what has happened, right? Number two, when you standardize, you know what product is out there. And if something is not working, you can tweak it because you've got a product. So our recommendation was you need to have a manual for facilitators, a manual for participants. And so we after the baseline, we were hired. And that's what we did. We then designed.
So the baseline was almost like an opportunity for you to pitch.
Yes, it was a pitch, yeah.
So now you are called in by Gauteng, because Gauteng is the one that's got adverse findings.
Others did get adverse findings, but Gauteng, you know what I've found about government is government is people driven.
Yes.
You know, when you told me your story during the break, that's it, at a bank, they lost your application. I just said, it's probably a particular person. It probably is not even a bank. It's just somebody who's lazy, who doesn't do their job, etc. That's what I found is happening in the government, is that if you meet the right person, who's passionate, who wants to do something, things work. So we were fortunate in that we got to do the Ke Moja program in Western Cape, by the way.
Right.
And there was a lady, that Debbie, who I found Mike was working with them. That type of a lady who wants to get things done, and she'll move the earth to make sure.
Operator.
Yeah. In Gauteng, we then met with, I mentioned it, Sistile Romkonto, Desiree Kalinski, Ubongiswa. Usually what you do is in the government, you find somebody who wants to achieve something, right? And when they meet us, they feel like these guys could help. And then they just go and open doors and it becomes a powerful partnership. So that's what happened. So the baseline assessment became a pitch. We made recommendations. Some of our recommendations were standardize, have young people who are focused on this, have them trained. And one of the things that we introduced, which was very powerful, was training them every year. So we ran training for them every year. And they asked us, but you trained them last year. I said to them, come on, that's like saying Mafigizoro. Saying, yeah, but we practiced last year.
What
it doesn't
analogy?
Yes.
Okay.
Right? They are selling their artist, but every week, they are practicing. So train them. The key value add from AYDF is monitoring. Monitoring is in two parts. First, we do the on-the-ground support monitoring, which we call it monitoring, mentoring, coaching, and support visits, right? Because once you've trained people, and that's where most NPOs make a problem, coming to challenges is when we just put an emphasis on training. Understand? So we have lots of trainings happening. But what's important is what happens after the training, the follow-up, the support.
Yeah.
Because what I've found is when people are trained, they're excited. But when they reach the ground, they meet life. You know what Eisenhower said? He said, planning is indispensable, but I found that plans are useless.
Okay, explain, because I'm a little bit confused now.
The planning process
It's important.
is indispensable.
Yes, we have to do it.
But I
It's
find that
required.
plans are useless because every plan will meet life,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Every plan has to come across life, so you have to adjust. But what helps you there is when you went through the planning process, because you've. So that's what we found. So when you train somebody, you're gonna go there, you're gonna do this. When they get there, life say hello, right? And then people get discouraged, and that's where they need support
Okay.
more.
Okay.
And having spoken to one of your teams, I learned that I think when we're working with Love Life, actually, funny enough, that's where I actually learned that process. To see that training is not enough. It's when people are implementing. So that's what we did. So those were our recommendations in Ke Moja. Have dedicated young people, have them trained, have them supported monthly. We will report monthly, and then we iterate, right? Because we find information as we continue. So we designed Ke Moja Manual 1, which has 8 modules. And our theory of change then is very simple. It's saying if a young person is looking at life and they see life going like this, things are getting bad, poverty, unemployment, etc. And you come to this young person and say, stop using drugs. They say, why? You say, well, because you're going to die. I say, well, it's because I know I'm going to die that I want to enjoy my life now, right? So they have this you only live once.
Yes, yes.
Sister Bettina.
Yes.
That type of mentality. So we say that young person is looking at immediate gratification.
Yes.
I want my pleasure. I want it now. I want to drive a nice car, so let me go and take it. I want a nice girlfriend. I just take because I'm going to die. So what we do, this is what we believe. And if you look at our manuals, we do this. We want to move their wealth from this to this, to say the future is amazing. Right? It doesn't matter where you are. The future is amazing. I go to boys, I say, youth, I hope the South African leaders are not going to be angry with me. But I say to them, you think the girls are beautiful now? Wait until you finish school, start a business, make money, fly, go to the Caribbean. So what I'm doing is I'm
And
selling.
what? The beautiful girls in the Caribbean.
There are also beautiful girls in the Caribbean. Not
Just wanted to check.
I don't want to cheat Timbo. But you get the point,
Yes.
right? And the same message to the girls, right? Is the future has a potential to always be more than now. Because once we've sold the future, then you come back. And then I have the saying which says, if the prize is clear, the price is easy, right? So if the prize, Prize, is clear, then we can pay the price.
So are you saying that's what the issue is for our young people? There's no clearly defined prize out there.
Yes.
So why must I do whatever now?
100%. We meet young people in matric. They don't know what they want to do. So why when I put an effort in this, right? So once the prize is clear and you buy into the prize, it's very powerful. Then people must do this exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look into this room. Look in this room and look at everything that is red.
Okay.
Right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and remember how many red things you've seen here in the room. Are we together? All right. So
Eyes still closed.
No. Look first.
Oh, I've looked.
You looked?
Yes.
You good?
Yes.
All right. I want you to tell me everything in this room that is gray.
But I didn't look there. You tricked me.
Yes. Now, was it easy to remember everything that's gray?
No.
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 Why? Because of a gift that God gave us, which is called the RAS, the reticular activated system. Very powerful. When you give the mind a goal, you didn't know this, your mind filters out everything else and is focused on that goal. Do you see what happened?
Yes.
So when I said red, I gave your mind a goal,
Right.
and you didn't know that it was filtering other colors out. And when a young person says, I want to be a doctor, young person from a squatter camp anyway, I want to be a business person, right? What happened is the reticular activated system gets activated. They don't know this, but their mind is now looking for everything that's going to help them do that. When they're listening to the TV, it's acute, what's going to help me? When everything, right? And that's what happens, right? That is why people can move from poverty to amazing things. It's the single-mindedness. Strangely enough, that's what addiction is. Strangely enough, that is the function that addiction takes over. Because what happens to an addict? They become single-minded.
Where do I get the next fix?
That's it. So they sleep, they wake up, what's the first thing? Where am I going to get this? And what's the RAS doing? It's looking okay. I mean, one guy said he's driving a huge wheeler truck, and the boys, he laughed. He said, I can't believe this. You see the huge wheeler trucks have got double wheels.
Yes.
They untied one. A truck, he said, right? But that's the power of the RAS. You see?
Yes.
But in addiction, it is misdirected.
Right.
So the idea is every young person, every human being needs to find that one thing that they are as obsessed about as an addict is obsessed about the drug. Because once your mind is going to get you there.
So Ntatazana, if I'm reading into what you're saying, our young people that don't have a direction or seem to be going nowhere slowly, they haven't given their mind an assignment.
100%.
So they haven't got their reticular activating system supporting them because they haven't given it a direction to go in.
Yeah. And the danger about the RAS is if you don't give it a direction, it maintains the status quo. It's the most amazing thing. It justifies. So I ask young people, do you know those people in the township we're going to school, they're in the corner, maybe some girls, they're playing cards. You come back from school, they're still there. I mean, I mentioned Mandoza's song.
Yes.
How does a person stay in a corner for years, right? And you go and you come back to the township, here's this guy is still there. It's because their RAS doesn't have a focus, and therefore it's justifying and maintaining what you are seeing. So this is from that. That's our theory of change, is that first thing that you need to do for a young person is to open it and make the future attractive and sell it to them. If they buy into it, the things that come out of that are incredible. I think when you came to talk to me, I spoke to you about two boys, one from Linyenye, another from Ematulini. So I'm mentioning that because this is not Alex and Jobek. So these are not clever township boys or whatever. Ematulini is like rural.
Okay.
When we were at Ematulini, I think they were still getting water from the river. I'm sure things have changed now. Linyenye is a township, but in Limpopo.
Yes,
Zanin.
Yes.
So when, what's this brand? Mag and Bean. When they wanted,
you told me about that.
When they wanted to go to the UK, they came to say, guys, you have young people that you're working with. Can you give us 10? We want to take them and open the branch in the UK. So they got these 10 young people. I was still in Love Life then. So it was 10 groundbreakers. So they go. 3 months when they are there, they email me, these boys. But in Atlanta, there's no youth programs in London.
They're in London.
Yeah, they're in London. We want to start a program. So I'm thinking, our guys are very motivated.
Yes.
2003. 2006, 3 years later, they email me. But Blandla, we've opened, they've raised funds, they've got young people, they fly me to London. They fly me to London, Newham Borough. I train about maybe 14 to 18 young people in Newham. So it's mostly Muslim young people. Wonderful experience. I'm with them there. 2 weeks. They just know that I can train.
These young people flew you there. They paid for you to get there.
They paid for me to get there. They organized it. Can you believe that? They organized that. From Linyenye and Ematuli. Not from Sandringhams. What? What's the
Sentin?
Not from Sentin or whatever. Yes. NEETs. They've just got Emetric Belly. Yes. They fly me. I do a training for 2 weeks. Wonderful time I had. 2006, I come back. 2007, they email me, Buntlanhla, our program is now in Brazil. 2008, they email me, we've been invited by the United Nations to have a program in the anti-slavery worldwide program. So they're saying to me, can you please come and prepare us for
These young boys are now dealing with the United Nations, the UN.
From Ematulini.
I think the one from Linyenye might be my cousin.
His name is Terence. So I checked my passport, it's expired.
Okay.
I then train 4 other young people. What they're going to train, and they fly.
Wow.
They do that, they come back beautiful. 2009, Terence emailed me. I've now registered myself in the university in the UK, paying in pounds. Ukulegani from Amatulin, I think he came back 2009, and he was running a youth a youth center. In his place. 2010, sent me a program. Olona is married, still in the UK. Right? So these are needs. These are young people not in education, employment, or training, who just spent about maybe 1 or 2 years in our program. But that's the power when you open young. They're
flying. They're flying.
Like, I can,
amazing.
As I said, I can regale you the whole night. They amaze me what young people achieve. It's absolutely just mind-blowing, right? So that's our theory of change. So Ke Moja is like that. Right? So although it's a substance abuse prevention manual, we don't talk about drugs until the 4th module.
So we're halfway before we even start talking about drugs.
Yes, before we start talking about drugs. What are we doing? We're selling the future.
Wow.
Right? So the first module is personal shield, where we talk about where do you want to be, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your turning points in life, and what are your gifts, what are your talents, right? Because I don't know if I suffered from this when I grew up. I don't know if you've ever heard these people say, work on your weaknesses.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That works when it comes to attitude. Right?
Because of the bad attitude, you're going nowhere.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can work on your weaknesses. You can always respect more. You can always be more punctual. You can always have a better positive attitude. You can always be more resilient. There's no end to those things. But when it comes to aptitude, right? Your ability, you need to work on your strengths. Very important. JC Maxwell puts it nicely. He says, if I had a scale from 0 to 10, I mean, it blew me away when he said this. He said, on aptitude, you don't get more than a 2-point improvement. It doesn't matter how much you can work. On aptitude, you don't get more than a 2-point improvement. So, I'm ashamed to say this, now I'm going to admit it to the whole world. I'm a black man who can't dance.
You got done.
It's
Should have told us before.
it's ignominy. I can't dance, and I love dancing. In my mind, I can see all the moves. You just can't translate them, right? So when I was at school, I used to, that song, How Are You Ever Gonna Learn to Dance?
No.
By standing on the wall. You know that song?
No, I don't know that.
How are you ever gonna learn to dance? By standing on the wall.
That one. Oh, yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Get your back off the wall. Yes, that's the song.
Yes, I know it.
Get down on it.
Yes, get down. Yes.
So I decided to listen to that song when I went to the Kumbas. I said, I'm not going to learn to dance by standing on the wall. So I'd force myself, go there and dance. And people would laugh at me, but I would do my best. And here's what I found out. Just when I'm about getting the dance, like when I'm like doing something that's resembling, the dance from afar, yes, the dance changes.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And that is where I learned this. On aptitude, you don't get more than 2 points. So if you are a 4...
In spite of how hard you try.
So if you are a 4, if you are a 4 and you try very hard, what are you going to be?
6.
A 6, which is just above average.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to look at that, right? However, if you look at your giftings, let's say you are born with a 6, so you're gifted, you're born with this, you can sing, you're a 6. You see, when you put your effort in that, it puts you on an 8. You see, now you are in the outstanding level.
Yeah.
If you're a 7, if you put your effort in that, you are a 9. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So when it comes to aptitude, somebody puts it very nicely. Don't try to take out what was not put in. God didn't put dance in me. I don't know why. I'll ask when I get in heaven. But he didn't. Right? I have the love of it. So if I decided, I want a career as a choreographer, I want to be so Miss, what's going to happen?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I can go and do a PhD. I can hire a coach. I can spend money. I'm not going to get more than 2 points. So that's one of the things that we say to them. What are you good at? Because to save time, focus on that. Can you sing? Right? Ask a question. What is that one thing which when you do, time stops? Right? There's that one thing which when you're doing, you just go, wow, I didn't know that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because if you feed into that, you're setting yourself up for success. You're going to stand out. Right? So, but if you're going to work on, it's like, no, I wish I was Tiger Woods. He's making millions. Right? But you don't have
the natural gifting for that.
Yeah. So that's more or less what our problem is.
And
we start on that. So that's module 1.
Right.
That's module 1, personal shield. Module 2, we do set goals. Now that you said this is where I'm going, because now you see what I'm doing, we are giving the RAS the target, right? It's gonna catch and miss, but
now it's disengaged.
Yes, shocks. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened. Shocks. It caught. I wanna be an educator.
Yes.
And it got it. And she moved from an impossible situation. I was looking at the status the other day. She was dancing with her kids. So I was saying, I wish I was a student in that class. You understand? Yeah. So that's module 2. Module 3, we then deal with eat well, live well. Now we're talking about you are what you eat. Okay. So I'm making a link between the things that you ingest. And then on module 4, it's drugs. They're not talking about drugs. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So what we're doing is we're looking at, because once you do this, you're helping the young person to say it's worth it to pay the price.
Right.
Because they can see that thing.
Right.
So I'm going to study. It's boring, but I'm going to, right? I'm going to not go and dance because, right? If the price is clear, I can pay the price, right? And then we move. So that's more or less throughout our modules, right? So that's manual 1. And then, yeah.
What happens in 5, 6, 7, 8?
It's marijuana, right? We deal with the issue of marijuana.
Right.
And right now, like the reason you have to always be updating it is you now have to explain the Constitutional Court judgment around marijuana. What does it mean? It doesn't mean marijuana is a good thing. It is still a drug, you know. If you are the only adults, right, have gained the right to plant it in their private home. If you are still
a minor, it's a no.
It's a no. So those type of things, you know what I'm saying? And then modules, I think 6 is consequences. So we deal about the consequences now of substance abuse, right? And then in module 8, we then do the value of education. Because what we say is, as a young person, the one thing that's going to take you to your goal is education, right? It paves the best way. It's not the only way, but other ways are harder. Believe me, education is the one. So in module 2, in set goals, do you know the balanced wheel? Have you ever done a balanced wheel?
Please
The balanced wheel is you draw a circle, and then from the center you put a lot of radius, right? That extend to the circumference of the circle. And then the center is 0. It's 0. And then at the circumference we put 100%.
Okay.
So that's what we do with balanced wheel. So you might say, okay, what's my life made up? You can say family. So this is 0, 100%. You say financial, 0. Then you need to measure yourself and say between 0 and 100, where are you currently? So in family, maybe I'm at 50%. So I put a dot there. Finances, maybe I'm at 30%. Maybe health, I'm at, right? So once you've done that, then you need to join the dots. Can you see? Then those dots are going to show an irregular wheel. So the idea is, can this take you to life? This is a wheel in your car. So you need to then, so what's your plan? Your plan is, let's say family at 50%. What's my goal for my plan? I want to be at 80%. So what are you going to do to move from 50% to 80%? You do the plan, okay, I'm going to spend more time with my wife, more time with my kids, blah, blah, blah. So
this is in module 2, goal setting.
Module 2, goal setting. Then we do a school balanced wheel. Very important. Where you now put all your subjects in the wheel. Physics, maths, life science, this. And we're saying between 0, what's your performance there? Go maths, I'm at 40%. In physics, I'm at 30%. In life science, I'm at 60%. And then you join the dots and you say, this is the wheel to your future. So what's the plan? What am I going to do to move from this dot? What's your goal first? Okay, I want to do 70%. What are you going to do? Then that's a plan, right? That's module 2. And then module 8 is the value of education, which is very important because we are now saying to the young person, where are you going to apply all these things you've learned, right? How do you move on? And the first thing we say is education. That's your most important assignment as a young person. And we say the goal of education is to learn discipline. That's Okmondino. He said the purpose of education is to learn discipline, right? The purpose of education is not to learn what's between the covers of the page. That is a serious mistake if you think that's the goal of education. Right? I mean, simple. 10 years from now, whatever you're learning in the page won't be relevant.
It's irrelevant. You're so right. So Ndetazana, you're taking young people who are what age through this program?
So this one is, let's say, from age 10 to about 18, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where do you find them?
At school. So the nice thing about this one is it's targeting schools.
Okay.
So you go to a school, we show them the program. Usually schools have a substance abuse problem. We explain our theory of change.
Usually have a substance abuse program or problem?
Problem, yeah.
Even from 10-year-olds?
Yes. We ran a camp in a primary school for grade 7s. So when we do a camp, because we sleep at the school, we know how young people's minds work. We search the bags when they come in, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll find liquor, we find drugs, you find condoms, you find all sorts of things in the bags of the young people.
What age group are we talking?
Grade 7.
Grade 7 is 12, 13? Grade 7 is standard
5.
Standard 5. Okay,
Grade
no,
7.
it's younger. So, okay.
So what's that? What's that age?
Grade 7 is standard 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 12, 13 because you're finishing high school.
Yeah, you finish.
Okay,
school.
okay.
It's the last thing in high school. We find that in all our camps. That's what we do. We find it.
And then what do you do?
No, we don't. Well, that's what we came to find, right?
Okay, so you're not surprised.
We're not surprised, but that's why we came. You know, remember that thing of remember what I told you. You are here to solve a problem. So you can't be a plumber. You are called, and then you complain that there's water on the floor. That's why you were called.
Okay, so I'm a new plumber. Okay, I'm sorry that I complain about the water on the floor. Okay, so we get there, we do the search, and then we find all this stuff. I'm sure the kids, I don't know if the kids are expecting to be searched.
I don't know. But
now they're busted, so what?
But they can say, no, we have no problem. We take the stuff, we confiscate it, and they go into...
Okay.
Because that's why they're there in the week. Why they're to
but the show goes on.
The show goes on.
Okay, got it.
We've had young people that when we find them, some, because it's a 3-day camp, some have withdrawal symptoms, because, man, marijuana is a serious issue, eh?
So
I didn't know, but it is a very serious issue with our young people.
So these are standard grade 7s that are addicted.
So let me tell you, in grade 7, it won't be in those huge numbers. But I know in one camp, we found about maybe 7 boys.
Right.
Who had managed to smuggle marijuana in.
Even after the search.
Even after the search, right? And we find them. In high school, it's worse. We were called to a school, Leondale High. I don't know if you saw this. There was a video that went viral, 420, where in school uniform, young people were exchanging marijuana. We went to that school. That's where we had a camp of 700 people. My team nearly killed me.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
So we did the same thing. We searched.
Yeah.
So what we do on day 1, at night we do a talent show. So we had a truck, nice talent show, and at about 7, it was clear these kids are high now. And it's like, what happened? They are high, like threatening to get out of hand. And it turned out that throughout the time we had parents coming in, saying I'm a parent, but it's not, and they're bringing drugs.
So it's their friend posing as a parent?
Yeah. Oh, no. Usually it's the drug dealers who got moles within the school. So it's just say, no, my father is coming and we're letting a drug dealer in. I mean, in that school I was traumatized because in the morning when my team were patrolling the fence, because we have young people at school, our security has to be tight. They would find packages of drugs.
This is day 2 now. We've stepped over the first night.
Yeah. Packages of drugs that have been put in.
That is funny. This sounds like a flippin' SWAT operation, hey?
Yeah. So in that school, I was so disturbed because young people are young people, right? So when I saw that marijuana video, and they called us, I kind of feel, we're overreacting. Young people are young people. They're just... But when I was in that camp, I saw something that amazing me, is that young people in that school were being targeted. You see, that's a different one. It's one thing when young people are experimenting, they're just being young people being silly. But when the drug dealers are now specifically targeting those
young people.
It's a different story, right? It's a different story. And well, the good news is, I think that year we went 2022. That's when the video happened.
Yes.
They dropped. I think they had 90%. They got about 72%, so they went down. And then we were there. They then went to, I may be making a mistake here, but they improved, but they didn't reach the 90%, the previous law. But last year, they actually, I think, about 2% lower than where they were their highest before we came.
Sure.
So things are improving. So we're talking about programs. So that's Ke Moja.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
So Ke Moja,
Yeah.
it works through the Department of Basic Education. You work with them to be able to get access to the
It's
school.
funded by Gauteng Department of Social Development.
Right.
And we work with the Gauteng Department of Education.
So they give you access.
So we got the departments to work together. So they give us access to the school.
Currently, how many schools are you touching?
Sure. In Gauteng, we reach about 600 to 700 schools per year.
Okay.
But there's about 2,000 schools.
So you are 600 over 2,000.
Yeah. So we're still not there.
Okay.
But it's one of the models that we've developed,
Yes.
and it's working.
Yes.
Because that's what the 500 young people are doing. They're the ones who are reaching the 1.4 million, right? But look at what's happening to them when they do that. We do monitoring and evaluation. So when they get into a school, we do a pre-test to see what's the baseline, where are the young people. What do they know? Where's their self-esteem? We implement, we do a post-test so that you can measure. Did we have a movement from the baseline, right?
This is all for Ke Moja.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is all for Ke Moja. So these are young people. So these are needs. That's what they do. So they have to go. They have to administer a survey. That's where they're learning skills. They have to administer a survey, a pre-test. They have to collect the data, right? And then they have to do the percentages, which is what they don't like. Calculate the percentages in every part. Then they have to consolidate the scores. Wow. Have the name, consolidate, and have an average percentage for that class.
Okay.
To say this is pre.
Okay.
And then they have to do that for post, right? So that is when they're learning skills, right? Not just ILO.
Right.
So now they're learning to do a bit of stats. They're facilitating. But not only that, they have to go and talk to the principal, request the school. So they are selling.
Nice.
Right?
I like that.
Pitch.
Yes.
This is who we are. This is what we're bringing. This is what we're going to do for you. And then they have to now maintain the relationship with that stakeholder. Right? Show up.
Right there.
Yes. Show up when you said you're going to show up. Don't be late. Dress well. Don't come with a cleavage among young boys and a shortest short. And so those are the things that, dress, you're professional. You're these guys. And then a major thing now, how to handle power. Right? Because you are relatively a young person in front of young people. The young girls are going to have a crush on you. That's a job of young girls. As a boy who's coming there. So we have to teach them that. Very, very, very powerful to say, when that happens, it's not an opportunity for you to take advantage of those girls. They must be safe when they have a crush on you. It must be the safest thing they can do on earth.
That is such a complete paradigm shift for somebody like me living in South Africa.
Yeah.
Please keep going.
It's very important. So you see now, these are the needs.
Yeah.
And that's why this program ends up with them being so powerful. Because they're not just learning, they're learning some really powerful things. Like I tell boys, there are 3 G's that will floor a man. 3 G's. Girls, you need to learn how to handle yourself around girls. It's very important, right? To learn to be respectful, to learn, you are a young man, you are going to fall in love, right? So to learn to treat women with dignity. I grew up idolizing womanizers. That's usually what happens with young black men. Role models were people who had many girls, right? The friend that I told you about, my friend, his brothers were
players,
like not a joke, and we just wish, So that's what I'm teaching them. That's not right. It's not true. You are weak, actually. when you do that, right? One thing that I tell the boys is, I had a friend who was a serious player. My friend, he passed on, unfortunately. Serious. When I met him in the first year at Vets, he had 4 kids.
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
Killing you, Aaron.
He had 4 kids. We parted. When I met him again, he had a girlfriend, he had 3 kids, but this time I was saying, I want to raise my kids, I want to be there. So I tell them that story. So you need to deal with this. This is going to kill your potential. So one of the things that I tell them is the skill, to learn the skill to be good with girls requires probably as much effort that you need to do to get a PhD. Women are very complicated, right? And you can spend your time, and I've seen many boys who've done that. Spend your time and they master, right? But you know what happens when the girls grow and they want somebody, they're not going to look at you, right? But I say to the boys, but if you follow your purpose, you understand? You follow your purpose and you succeed, you want to get girls.
So the girls aren't going to want you because you're not that exciting guy.
Well, if you follow your purpose,
yes,
you look boring, right? Because you're not having a black book and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a good chance of finding a good wife. Understand? Because you're going to be a quality person. You're going to, right?
So this is the first of the 3 G's, which is girls.
This is girls. Then the next one is glory, which is pride, right? So remember, these are young people that we get from Alex. They learn a module, they go, they want to talk nice English. All these examples I'm telling you, they know. So they're going to go and do them. And everybody's going to look at you. Look at this boy.
Like you said, they're going to wipe the floor. Huh?
Right? So they become very, 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 very impressive young people. So that's another thing. Pride.
Don't let it get to you.
Be humble, be teachable, share. And then the third one is gold, money, right? So we give them transport money, taxi to go and implement. So they recon. So we teach them to recon. You requisition for money, you make a plan. I'm going to do this per week. I'm going to need so much. So you do a requisition.
Because these are volunteers.
You do a requisition. You reconcile. See, they're learning finances. And I tell them, if you can't look after 10 rands, you can't look after 1,000 rands. You can't look after 1,000,000 rands. It actually will kill you. So those are the type of things that we're teaching them. Whilst they're doing this, you see. So that's the Ke Moja. So they are impacting the learners, but they are the most impacted in going through this process.
Wonderful. So let's wrap up Ke Moja, and that is one. So it's in schools, currently 600 schools. Targeting learners between the ages of 10 and when they finish?
No. We've added. We now have Ke Moja Puppet. So we do from 4 to 9 years.
Right.
So it's a puppet show.
That's in the
early childhood. So the research has shown that actually that's the most impactful time to reach them. It's about 4 stars out of 5 stars. Program that target young people at that. We then have Manual 3, which deals with 19 to 35. And then we have the alternatives, as I told you, which are looking at youth.
So if there's a parent looking at this and says, this could be very helpful for my child, the child has to be in the school where the program is currently being implemented?
Yes.
Or you will get to them as you gain more funds to be able to close the gap from the 600 to the 2,000?
That's what we intend to do. Gauteng Department of Education have been saying, we want you in these schools, we'll sponsor more coaches. So we are waiting for that with anticipation. So that's one. However, remember the NPOs that are implementing are in 47 spaces, like in Davidton.
So outside of the school program.
So the young people are in Davidton, so you can go to Sanka Horizon in Davidton. There's a very powerful lady there who, Fraser, who manages the young people. And they are always, we have award ceremony at the end of the year where we award them. So Horizon has been number 1 for the past 3 years. So I'm saying you can go and find. So if you call Ke Moja has a toll-free number.
What is the number? Isn't that just one?
I don't know it by head.
We'll find it, okay?
Yeah, we'll find it. And then you can call AYDF is 011-492-0590. So they can put you in touch with the place that's closest to you.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So you can find out about where are the NPOs that implement Ke Moja, and you can go there.
Wonderful. So this is Ke Moja. This is your
Flagship.
the flagship, the one that reaches the most people.
Yeah.
So let's park here for a little bit.
Yes.
Give you time to think about the next one that you're going to go to, but we'll take a short break.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.